fishing, it's in my soul.
Welcome to the Salt Strong Podcast, disrupting fishing entertainment as you know it. Prepare to laugh. Prepare to get to know fishing legends in a whole new and unfiltered way. And on occasion, you might even learn a thing or two about fishing. Here's your host, Joe Simons. Like diamonds.
They see me trolling, they hate it. They got the Slam Shady riding dirty. Everyone, welcome to another show. We are live, and yes, we are actually trolling for trout. Trolling for specks, baby. Let's hope this is actually not one.
That's the biggest lizardfish I've ever seen. Look at the size of that lizardfish. That's a
Guys, world record lizard. Man, that could be bait for later. Sheesh. So anyhow, if you're just tuning in, look at that quick release. We've got our Slam Shady paddle tail lures, and we are out here in an idle zone trolling. You know, we used to think, right, Luke? Oh, Luke's on.
There we are.
The coolest part too about this
might be a ladyfish here.
Is it feels like you got massive 10-pounders on when you get a strike.
This is it.
But no, normally we would kind of not enjoy zones like this where you're having to idle for sometimes a mile or so. And our good friend and insider lifer inner circle member Dave Oddie.
Oh, it's off. That was a ladyfish.
Had told us like how many fish he's catching trolling, and of course he's in his kayak normally. But even when sometimes he's going to the boat, he just sits there and trolls in these idle zones or no motor zones, and talks about how well he does. He was down here, not too far from here, to E.G. Simmons Park, and caught like how many snook trolling?
Yeah. I fished with him. I fished with him the day before our meetup, and had a blast. And he was telling me about trolling, and so.
I just had a nice strike.
And so the day after we fished, he went out in his kayak and just went to the same type of spot that we were fishing, and ended up catching, it was either 4 or 5 snook, trolling a paddle tail, trolling the same paddle tail back behind his kayak, which I'd never even heard of snook hitting like that. And so that kind of intrigued me, and we were out filming last week in this idle zone. We had to go from point A to B, and like, might as well just drag some lures. And how many fish did we catch? We caught a ton.
Oh yeah, just nonstop.
It was actually
ladyfish, big trout too.
The biggest trout. The biggest trout of the day.
Oh, ladyfish.
The biggest.
You gotta
trout
love
of
it
the
when
day,
the drag's coming out with us.
Try to get him over there. Keep him away from my line. I just missed something.
I think we're in a ladyfish
There we are
zone.
now. We doubled up, or I probably have ladyfish after mine right now. Yep, there. I'm hooked up.
Big old ladyfish too. These feel like giant.
Golly, this thing's taking out drag.
Giant fish when you're actually in motion like this. This is so much fun. I mean, talk about fun for the whole family. I mean, and yes, although it helps to have Slam Shady, I think any paddle tail will work. Although you'll probably catch 10 times more with the Slam Shady.
We'll go ahead and put us in idle.
How cool is that? And you can just do this till you're blue in the face.
Mine hadn't come up yet, so I'm not sure what this is.
Kobe, yeah.
Another ladyfish.
Oh my God, that was a little bit embarrassing. But all you do, if you guys saw me on my side, you literally just toss the sucker back. Just a normal cast.
What's the size of this joker?
Quick little toss. And then tip.
Come on.
Man, dude, that is a beast of a ladyfish. Holy smokes.
That thing was taking out drag. But,
tarpon bait right there.
Yeah, we caught a trout right before we started filming just to make sure the fish were still here, and we should get on some more.
Anyhow, look, let me just show you what we're doing here. And if you're listening, all I'll do is got a paddle tail on that's what, a 1/4 jig head, I think?
1/4 ounce jig head is what he's using. That's a traditional jig head.
Underhand.
I'm using this Texas eye jig head, so it's still a 1/4 ounce, but it has a little wobbly head, and it's kind of a little bit more weedless. So we're right now we're just kind of seeing which one works better. So far, it's pretty much been a wash.
So quick toss. Let a little bit of line out, and you'll notice here my rod tip is down because I want to get this a little bit deeper. We're in how many feet of water here?
We're going from 5 to 3, basically.
And occasionally I'll let a little slack out to have a little bit of that drop, and then bring it back, and just kind of play around with it and see what works. But this is surprisingly effective.
And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it kind of turns a boring drive in this, because how long is this stretch here of idle zone?
It's a long idle zone.
It's this whole state park, basically. And there's tons of these. I mean, you don't have to be here even in Florida to do this. There's tons of areas like this that are going to have a little channel, that are going to have some grass flats or some type of flat nearby, and are probably going to be loaded down with fish. And you'll see some birds up there, Cody, I think you to your right that are flying. There's some more over here on this old abandoned boat on the left. Doggone. What a fun way to catch some fish.
Yeah,
and anybody can do. And it does feel like you got monster fish on when they strike.
Yeah, and the cool thing about this is, because I used to do this a lot, bass fishing, I'd do it in my canoe. And I'd take like my mom out, just somebody who doesn't really fish very often. They literally just sit there, and in that case, I would just be paddling. So I was out getting exercise, and whoever was there was catching some really good bass. I actually caught some like legit bass, like 24 plus inches, trolling behind the canoe. And I just never, until recently, decided to try this saltwater, and it definitely works.
So let's talk about. We'll talk about the spot in a little bit. Let's talk about tides. Does it even matter? I honestly didn't even look.
Well, right now it's coming in. I mean, we're basically just fishing the edges of the flats, and the fish are always going to be there. So I don't think it matters a whole lot. You just want, there we are. Just like everything else, we want the water to be moving.
Dude, you're way out there, man.
Yeah, I had a lot of line out on that one. Just like everything else, you want the water to be moving, and right now we're actually going with the current. It's not a very strong current, so I don't think it's a huge factor, but we're going with the current now. What we'll do is we'll go down the end and then come back and just see if the current makes that much of a difference.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask in terms of lure presentation.
I think it's another giant ladyfish.
It's another lady?
That's what it feels like. It hadn't been jumping, but it's fighting like it.
Guys, if you're listening to the podcast, you need to watch this.
Oh, it's a trout?
No, it's a trout.
Yeah, nice. It's a legit trout.
Pretty fun. It's so simple. I mean, you could do this out of a kayak, paddleboard, pedal kayak.
Got him.
Nice, dude. Slam Shady strikes again.
Yeah, so this little trout, it fought like it was a 10-pounder with that current. So it definitely makes...
Let me get a quick pic.
Nope,
I need to get an up-close picture of Slam Shady.
Better hurry. Nice little trout. Let's let this guy go.
Okay. No picture. So I don't got no time for that. Who would have thought, dude?
Yeah, so that's trout number 2. Granted, the first one was before we were filming, but yeah, a lot of fun.
Blame that on a new guy, Cody. No, I'm just kidding when Cody's full it on.
So again, to set it up, I'm just casting basically as far as I can behind the boat. And I just let it get tight for a little bit. And then every once in a while, I just dip out a little bit more line.
So let's talk about depth, both ideal kind of depth and then the lure. Clearly, when you're going fast, our lures are not near the bottom, and it doesn't seem to really matter. What are your thoughts?
I mean, just like always, you want the lure as close to the bottom as possible without getting snagged and caught up in all the whatever's on the bottom. And so that's why we're using a 1/4 ounce jig head instead of like a 1/8, just to get it deep. Also, we have light braided lines. We have 10-pound line and 10-pound braid line specifically because it's just thinner and it'll help dive down deeper. And then just a 20-pound leader. So just going light, get it down deep, and as far as speed, I mean, it's like, what is it? I don't know. It's basically we're going just idle speed, like not this. I can go a little bit slower, but not much. And so far we've had them both going like slowest possible speed, and then we've also caught fish going a little bit faster too. So I think it's really about just try to get the bait as close you can to the bottom as possible. Obviously, the thinner your line, the deeper it goes. The more line you let out, the deeper it goes, and vice versa. So right now we're in 5 feet of water, and I'm gonna let a little bit more line out. But then once you start feeling bottom, then it's time to either reel more line in or go from your rod down to the rod up, right? Rod up raises, rod down lowers.
Yeah, because I think the last time we did this was kind of by accident. We had it in the rod holder, right? Like way up like yay, if you guys are watching. It was in this back rod holder, and all of a sudden we started seeing pop, 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 pop. We're like, holy smokes, what is that, a manatee over there?
Yeah, manatee just popped up.
Let's not catch that.
See, there's a cobia riding them. So yeah, right now it's actually 15 feet deep, so this is a deep hole.
Huh. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see if we, there's a manatee right there, dude.
Yeah, manatee's right ahead of us.
Hopefully.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try to buzz.
Yes, this will be a really interesting test here to see if we get any strikes in this deeper stuff.
Yep.
Any trout come from the abyss. People camping out there. I think we maybe catch one in their faces.
I didn't realize it even got this deep back here. So yeah, now we're back. So we just went right over the ledge, and so now we're at 5 feet deep. So this should be where they are. We should be able to get something on this ledge.
Strike zone, baby. One thing too, the last time we did this when we didn't have the cameras rolling, we were getting all kinds of fish coming up and nailing it, and we started losing, some of the tails on the paddle tail, and we decided to try it out without the tail, and that did just as good. I think one of the biggest trout, right?
Biggest trout was on the tailless one.
Yeah, it was on the tailless. So don't feel like you have to replace it.
As long as it's rigged properly, it can't be helicoptering. That's the key. That goes the same thing with trolling or not trolling. Yeah, right around here was our good zone last time.
Yeah, so we're, what do you think, we're gonna turn around up here and try it again, or what?
Yeah, we'll keep going a little bit further.
It'll be really curious to see if going with or with against the current.
Yep.
It's a game changer or not. There's some bird right there, so this could be a good area. He's chilling. That's where we saw those dolphin last time. Going nuts.
Yeah, and I don't know this area very well, so what I'm doing is I'm just pulling out my phone and getting on Google Maps and on the satellite image just to see exactly where the deeper spots are.
Yeah, and we recently had a meeting with Freedom Boat Club and the Tampa one, and they were wanting us to help them do some videos on how to catch a lot of fish out of some of their boats that don't have trolling motors, because I think the majority of their boats do not have trolling motors, and this is one great way, right, Luke? And the other one obviously is to use the wind and just drift across a flat. But doggone, you can do this with or without the trolling motor. Obviously, we picked this area, one, because we had actually done this before here, right?
Yeah.
And two, it really is an idle zone, and so it's like, hey, let's prove it in an area that we know it's going to work. But you can do the same thing on any normal flat.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, our first trout actually came on the outside edge.
Yep.
I just kind of we just troll right up the outside flat, and which any boat can access. And that we caught one and missed a couple something else. I don't know what they were. But this is definitely an easy access type thing to do. Any boat, any skill level.
And probably really nice when it starts getting super hot. I know one of the problems that a lot of us have with young kids and or maybe a spouse that doesn't like to just sit there in one spot and fry. This is a great way to at least have some breeze, and you don't have to be a good caster. I mean, all you have to do is be able to get it out a few feet and let the water do the rest of the work for you. Cool way to explore some new areas and see where the fish are. So far, they've all been back there, which is interesting.
Yeah, they've been in the channel, so that's where we're heading back. We're going to head back from, we're going to go into the current, see how much of a difference that makes.
I'm going to reel mine up and check it, see if I still have a tail, and if not, how much I got left. So I did get that one little strike. Well, still looking good. Slam Shady, full effect. Woo! Slam Shady.
And as far as the hook set too, you really don't have to do much, because a lot of these fish, when they strike, they strike and turn. It's not like a flounder where they kind of go with. A lot of times these trout will strike and then start turning back, and just the momentum of the boat plus the fish turning, it'll get right in the corner of their mouths. So I basically just don't even set the hook, and that's the best way that I found to get these hookups. Sometimes they'll miss it, they'll bite short, and it'll come out of their mouth, and if you jerk it real fast, that just is not a natural movement of anything that they are used to eating, and so they'll oftentimes just come back and grab it as long as it doesn't dart off.
How often are you moving the rod tip up and letting it do a little drop?
Just every once in a while. I basically just do it to feel. I want to make sure that the reason why I like paddle tails for this is you can feel that paddle tail moving. Again, as long as you have braid line, thin braid line, you can actually feel really well. So I'm just keeping it honest, make sure there's no weeds on it. And I can feel that tail sitting there and fluttering down there, so I'm just going to let it ride till I get something.
Hey, let's talk about that snook you caught last night, dude. I didn't even talk to you. Saw the picture.
Yeah, it was a good fish. I was just
where were you fishing?
Using this same rig. I was fishing docks. That's been the.
If you're an insider member, you'll get to see the exact dock. Okay. Come on, guys. If you're not an insider member, what are you waiting on?
Yeah, and I was basically following the exact recipe that was highlighted in last week's Smart Fishing Spot game plan. There's what we do every week for Insider Club members. We just highlight what's been working, and then talk about the type of spot to go to. And so I literally just used that exact framework. I was exploring a dock line the docks have been working really well lately, and specifically around some certain structure that I'll save for the Insider Club members. But I found a new dock shoreline I never fished that fit the mold, that was the right type of setup based on what's been working. And sure enough, I went out right before dark. I left at 5:30, and literally the second dock I fished, I caught a red, and then 2 docks down, I caught a snook that was 35 inches. Really nice snook. I got really lucky on it. I had Otis on the boat, so he was causing trouble. And then there we are. Oh, I missed him. So sometimes they'll come back and hit it again. That one felt trouty. Dang it. But yeah, so that snook, I just had 20-pound, I had the same exact rig, 10-pound braid, 20-pound leader. I was not expecting a big snook like that, and I got very fortunate. Oh, dang, missed another one.
Yeah, I had a little pop too. I feel like we're
yeah, this was the good zone last
getting
time.
back in the zone. AutoZone, sponsored by AutoZone.
But yeah, so these lures, right? It's a good lure is a good lure. Whether you're casting, like when I was fishing docks, I was casting. I was skip casting under the docks. I was actually jigging it really slowly. And in this case, same lure but totally different application. And now we're just trolling and basically just covering ground. Let that tail do the work. And it's working. So get a good lure and just use it. And it's a big part of its depth control. So a lot of people have been asking what kind of jig heads we use, and it really doesn't matter too much as long as the proper weight is being used. Because some people mentioned, I did that report yesterday and I shared, I said I was using that Texas Eye jig head I've been testing out. And some people say they're really not having any luck, and then they're asking what size. And just like all jig heads, I get some of every size. I get some 1/8 ounce, some 3/16, and some 1/4 ounce. And I'll use whichever one is, based on the depth, right? I use it based on the depth coverage that I want to do. Oh, there you have one?
Yeah. Dang.
So the actual depth coverage is very, very important. It's something that I overlooked for a long time. I would just use the same lure over and over again. And if it's not getting down at the right depth.
And if you guys missed the episode, the very first live one we did where we fished at row of docks.
Yep. And
Luke and I were side by side, same Slam Shady lure, casting on the same docks, and he outfished me like 7-1. Might have been 8-1. And the only difference was the jig head size. That was it. I was making the same beautiful money cast. Had the same confidence. Well, towards the end I did, and it was really, really low. I feel like a complete loser.
Oh man, I missed another one.
But that was so interesting, right? I mean, we're talking about of 1/4 versus, or did you have what do you have?
I had the 1/4 ounce.
You had a quarter, yeah.
And you had the 3/16, so it really wasn't
crazy.
It doesn't
That
seem
small
like,
of a difference made, I mean, literally, I caught 1 snook and you caught like 7 or 8 fish.
Yep.
In a 35-minute, 40-minute period of time.
Check my bait.
And that was eye-opening. You got one?
No, I'm checking my bait.
I'll bring them on in too.
Keep yours out. Let's have at least one out at the whole time.
Well, I had a couple little strikes there too. I kind of want to check it, okay?
All right.
You got
good.
yours?
Yep.
All right. So you go aggressive on the cast, huh?
Might as well get it out there.
That sucker out there. All right, so going back to the honey hole here where we were. And also too, let us know if you guys want, if you like these types of live podcasts. This is real world. Sometimes you get into them and then sometimes you got to go back and find them. I love this because it's everything I think we wish was out there, right?
Yeah.
Nothing against the fishing TV shows. They're great. I mean, they're there for entertainment more than how to. And obviously they're heavily produced and edited. These are 0 edits, even though Cody knows how to edit. Great editor. Good job, Cody. But on these, he loves these because he's not allowed to edit. We keep everything
no
in.
edits.
Even when we
rule.
screw up and do dumb stuff or say dumb things, which is
One
all
rule
the time.
is no edits. Simple as that.
So let us know if you like them. And then 2, any specific types of species, types of fishing, types of areas. We've had a few captains have reached out to us, some brave and bold captains, might I add, who have offered for us to go fish and film with them on their boats. And it can be kind of stressful to know that you've got a 35 to 50 minute period to catch fish. And some days that's like the worst hour when you decide to roll and you catch fish afterwards or before. And sometimes, man, all the magic happens right when you're filming. So thank you, guides. If any of you are up for it, I know Peter Deeks has said he don't care, he ain't scared. So Deeks is going to be coming up probably in the next week or 2. We're just trying to get really a time frame on his busy schedule. Guy's got Bill Dance and stuff calling him up to fish. But that'll be a fun one because with Deeks, I mean, if you guys don't know about him, he's one of our full-time fishing coaches. The guy is the elephant hunter. Meaning he goes after some big, big, big fish. You never know what you're going to catch with Deeks.
So it has been interesting. We're going into the current this time, and it's definitely been a noticeable decrease in action.
So where was that area that
we just passed? So we're now on the other side of the cut,
okay.
but that shouldn't be that big of a difference.
Maybe it does. We're going to dial this in so we can do a full report on it. This is all new to us, which is kind of cool. Like, I don't ever remember purposely trolling for trout.
Yeah, I've never done it before until last week.
But after that one time, I was like, man, this...
there we are.
That was just a fun day. We'd already had an amazing day of catching a lot of fish. And this was just like icing on the cake to catch another 7 to 10 more trout. Trolling in an area where normally we would have been checking emails and not admiring God's beautiful creation here.
I think I got a little bit ambitious on that hook set. That felt trout.
That's what happens when the cameras are rolling, dude. Remember, you got to take a deep breath. Calm yourself down, Lukey. Calm yourself down. Calm down, Cody. A little excited back there. I'm seeing some birds. Seeing some depth changes up here. Whoa, there we go.
Got one?
Yep.
Nice.
Oh, he's taking drag out. Oh,
is that a trout? That's a nice trout.
Dude. Oh, you want to slow it down a little bit? Get the net. We got a netter here. And this is what I'm talking about. You see me trolling. They hating. Boop, 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 boop. Riding dirty. Little Slam Shady. Little Slam Shady.
These fish feel like they're about 10 pounds bigger than they are. Look at that guy up there.
Here we go.
Solid fish.
Not really, but doggone. It felt like a beast. That is so much fun. What a blast. Oh, I'll do it the right way and wet my hands. I'm gonna grab this guy. Oh man, he kind of inhaled that. Got some pliers for me there, Lukey? Thank you, sir.
Yeah, and for just for overall catch and release, it's good to have these, just a net handy for trout. A lot of times, trout are, they have pretty light mouths. So if you just pick them up by the line, a lot of times they'll shake off and just like hit the boat, which is never good. Like that.
Like that. Jeez, Louise.
And so it's good to have have a nice net like this with that actually has rubber line mesh. Very, very important. I'm gonna quit horsing around. Let this guy go.
This is embarrassing.
So that's what not to do when you get a fish. Just get him back in the water.
Well, the irony is good learning lesson here. I did wet my hands down. Turned out to be one slippery little trout.
Yeah, the proper thing to do is hold it with two hands. First of all, have it in the net, and then if you are going to hold it with two hands. Let somebody else take a picture. Just don't do what you just saw.
But that's another good reason that we do these live. You guys get to learn. I was going to say our mistakes, but usually my mistakes. So he destroyed that thing. So what I just did, I bit the head off because the jig head had actually ripped through. So I bit the head off, and now I have a slightly shorter Slam Shady. But doggone, this is still going to destroy it.
Yeah, that's a good way to get some more bang for your buck on soft plastics. A lot of times it's just like the very last quarter inch or whatever is all kind of torn up, and just get rid of that, and the rest of it's clean and
what I like to do is put it back in and make sure it's still swimming well. I don't know if you can see this over here, Cody, but always put it back in, make sure it's not doing a bunch of helicopters, because if you throw that sucker back and he's helicoptering out, nothing is going to hit it. Not even lizardfish and pufferfish. Even they turn their head to a helicopter. Right, Lukey?
That's right, Joe.
Yeah, one other thing too, we're talking with a marine biologist about bringing marine biologists on board to one, answer questions that we have, two, to maybe do some kind of tips and courses, because the one advantage they have, and this is a marine biologist who is a marine biologist by trade, but also was a fishing guide and really understands how to go out there and catch fish based on his knowledge of why and where fish are at certain times. And to me, I think that's next level, right? About truly understanding the fish. He's less about lures and techniques and more about studying the feeding habits and the feeding patterns and the biology of the different types of fish that we're targeting. And his expertise happens to be speckled trout and snook and redfish and flounder. So let us know what you think. It's something we're pretty excited about, something we've never really done before. And he would be like a team member, so we would have him, as kind of part of the staff. And I think it would add just tremendous value. And he is just a wealth of knowledge and can actually talk like an angler and to an angler, not just, a nerdy beaker and test tube guy that talks in beaker and test tube lingo.
But, and more importantly, just to have a good connection to the scientists, to the actual, because the actual rule makers, right, they're relying on scientists for accurate data. And so we'll basically have an in with that group to help make sure that the laws that are going through are actually the proper ones based on actual science and not on any sort of I don't know, I won't say scandalous stuff, but just not based on just having the right information, having actual facts that are impacting policy and not just kind of hearsay, if you will. So it'll be a great way to have a direct direct tie to somebody like that.
Yep. Oh, there we go. Oh, that was a nice hit there. There we go.
That's probably a lady fit. Oh, keep him your side.
Trying, this thing's running all over the place. He's got legs. He's got legs. I tell you what I'm not going to do this time is try to bring in the boat and get a picture. Those of you listening to the podcast, you might have heard the thump. Yes, that was me. Well, I don't know that I had necessarily dropped him. It was more that he decided to get really antsy and try to wriggle right when I was getting a picture. So I'm going to blame it on that.
Is that a ladyfish or trout? It's a bluefish. Yeah, a little bluefish.
Son of a gun.
You never know what you're going to catch doing this.
Didn't even slash my line, which is always a bonus. You know, that's pretty funny. Check out old Blue. He's antsy. Oh, we should get a little picture for Nick Sergio. What do you think?
No,
I'm just kidding. Our boy Nick says that these bluefish, buddy, you got to stop wrangling here. That they have the coolest eyes. Isn't that what he said?
Yep.
And I don't want to get my hand in there to find out.
Yeah, they have some pretty gnarly teeth.
You want to check out that code? I'm trying to pull this thing open. He is literally biting down on my... You see those teeth? Oh, this joker is... Look at the Slam Shady. He has just destroyed it. Oh, Luke's on. Luke's on.
Oh, that's a trout, I believe. Oh, coming down. This looks like a trout.
Got a little trout?
Surfing them in. Golly, it felt like it was a giant trout. So when you have that boat moving, it definitely makes for a lot of fun. Again, it's something just to have a kid do this. You know, they think they're catching something giant. In reality, this little guy was taking out drag, and this is like a 10-inch trout.
It felt like a giant.
So as far as proper handling,
yeah, let's do the right way to do it.
yeah. So if you're going to grab it, you can grab it, but I always keep it over the side of the boat. That way, in case it does fall, it goes in the boat, not on the deck. But really, the worst thing, we had a podcast. This was actually a pretty eye-opening podcast. We had a podcast with a scientist who has been testing out, doing research on catch and release fishing. And what was really surprising, obviously, like, you know, I've always tried to take like really good care of the fish's skin. Dang, I just made a cast. I'm getting hits already.
Got a hit already?
But what he's saying is that the biggest cause of actually a fish dying and not surviving being released isn't the skin being, you know, they literally wiped, like on seatrout in particular, they wiped every bit of slime off of it, off of multiple ones, and put it in the tank and just watch to see what happens. And there was no problem at all. Like they just grew the slime back. Granted, it's not good for them, so don't purposely wipe slime off. They're obviously testing. But what was the biggest factor is a trout hooked deep. So if it gets hooked in the gills, like game over, or in the stomach, like it was almost like 100% mortality rate compared to like dropping it. Granted, that's not good, but it typically won't kill them.
You just trying to make me feel better about myself?
No, it's just the importance of not deep hooking fish, which is the importance of using circle hooks. Right, like if you're just using live bait and have the rod in the rod holder or cut bait and you're not actively fishing, circle hooks are essential. But if you're doing stuff like this, right now we're trolling, right? There's always tension on the line. It's difficult to hook fish. Like Joe's one trout was hooked kind of deep, but it wasn't. I just missed one. But it wasn't all the way down, right? It's really hard. Those fish will usually grab it and turn, and that alone, the fact that there's tension on the line, it's not going to hook it. It'll almost always get them right in the corner of the mouth. So just be real mindful of that. Catch and release is very important just to maintain our fisheries. A big part of that is using the proper gear and not deep hooking. And then obviously when you have them, try to get them in the water as quickly as possible.
So one other tip. I don't know, is that 150 yards right behind Cody where I'm staring at is, what do you know? Boat launch. Yeah. And yet we just caught those two fish right here behind it. And you know what most of us do, is, you know, we launch and we want to go far away, and there are so many fish to be caught right here. Another great tip is the residential canals, right? Obviously, most of them are going to have an idle zone. Another great time to just, man, throw a lure out there and see what happens. Tell the kids, spouse, friend, hey, you hold this rod here as we cruise out. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, all those fish were caught right there while I was staring at someone launching their boat over there.
Yeah,
and we haven't. What have we
by.
burned? 0.2 gallons of gas, maybe.
Yeah,
this
this thing
run.
it just sips gas going this slow.
Such a cool way to do it. So now what are we doing? Going super close?
We're just gonna buzz this flat. So the way to maximize results is to go on the edges. In this case, we have a grass flat. If you don't have seagrass in your area, just like the edges of oyster bars where it goes from shallow to deep, I just try to get the bait as close as I can to that depth change. That's going to hold, you know, a lot of sea trout and really everything. Like everything kind of will could possibly be there. And so now we just position ourselves where there's a trough. You know, the edge of the flat is right here. We're going in line with it. Mine's kind of up on top. Joe's is just off the edge. And we both have our rods going out, kind of like outriggers. And so we'll basically have like a 10-foot swath or whatever, maybe 12 feet, I guess.
So what, here in 30 minutes, 35 minutes, we caught ladyfish, squirrel, trout, and bluefish. 4 species, 35, 40 minutes.
Yep. Yeah,
Paddle tail lure,
exploring.
Slam Shady.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all you need? Come on now. Everybody wants to complicate it. All you need, whoop, there, oh, nice strike there. Hit it again, baby.
Yeah,
I got a little too aggressive.
So here we're in about
Got a little excited.
We're about 4 feet of water now. We're on the edge still. There's now a little grass fly that's shooting out. I know we just went down to 5 feet, so I'm gonna let a little line out. And yeah, it's pretty easy fishing, really.
And fun.
Oh, I just had a hit.
It takes the pressure off, you know?
Yeah.
Because you can do this when the tide's maybe not perfect. Just, oh, there we go.
Got him?
Yep. Just to catch some fish.
Trout. Oh, double. Oh, man, I had him.
Little guy.
There we are, double.
Double up.
Double.
Doubling up, baby.
I think mine's bigger than that.
For your sake, I hope so.
Yeah, so doubling up on trout while trolling, like something I never would have even
All right. There's time to
considered.
get him out quick. Make
Yeah,
up
not
for,
a giant, but bigger than Joe's.
I'm
So
gonna
again,
go back in here because normally, once you find a hole like that, when you're doubling up, there's probably plenty more in there.
Yeah. So what I'm doing, I'm keeping it over the boat, right? Get a hold of it.
Oh, and add another strike. This is a great way to just find good spots too.
There, I think it's going to be good to go. No problem. Bait's still good.
So look, I just got another strike right out here, just making a normal cast.
Yeah, we can watch out.
Let's
Yeah,
see.
and obviously if you find a spot like this, you know, we'd probably be better off just drifting this and going slower. But podcast is about trolling for trout.
Yeah,
so.
who's got time for that?
Yeah.
We're movers and shakers, baby.
Yeah, we're just going to keep on moving. But yeah, so, and this is even for finding different spots, right? If there's a long flat and you want to see where the fish are, patrol for them. Once you find them, the smart thing to do would be for us to actually put the troll motor down and now fish this area. We could probably catch a ton of trout, but again, the podcast is about trolling for trout, so we gotta stick to it. But there's clearly a lot of fish there. When you double up while trolling, the motor will definitely scare off a lot of the fish. We're only in 4 feet of water, right? So the fact that we hooked 2 while the boat just ran over it, there's probably a bunch of fish down there.
Yeah, we'll have to make another run. And so let's do that. We just doubled up, so let's sum it up and close.
Yep.
Summary is this is super easy, super fun. All you need is a Slam Shady paddle tail, you know, depending on your depth of where you are. Obviously a jig head.
And the jig head type doesn't really matter. So
Nope.
I have the Texas eye, Joe has the traditional open jig head.
And you don't even need a boat, right? I mean, you do this on kayak, do it on anything, do it on a john boat. Probably, just go over here in a little dinghy.
It would definitely work better with a kayak because it doesn't have the boat spooking everything.
Clearly, did not matter too much. And if you want help, just going out there and consistently catching tons of fish, I urge you to join us in the Insider Club. We created it because it was everything we wish was around. When not necessarily we were bad fishermen. I think a lot of people think, oh, it's for newbies. No, like 10% of our members are full-time guides, and they're using it for the discounts and the network. And a lot of our members, like our ideal customer, if you will, is someone who loves fishing, who wants to get the next generation out fishing. Luke's on again, and who really just wants to maximize their time. Every single Friday, we get on a little video and get on online maps and literally show you where to fish. And so some of our members, and they're busy, right? They got jobs, they got life, they have kids, and they just want someone to tell them exactly where to go fish. And that's what we do every single week, based on real trends, based on real science, and based on the weather.
And it's what literally has just happened. So obviously last Friday, we gave included that as far as the game plan. We talked about this, so this is all the latest and greatest trends, what types of spot to go to, tactics like this that are working, and it's just the best way to get the best and latest info while also saving a ton of money on gear. We have a really big discount program that we just launched.
Yeah, and everything from rods, reels, line, sunglasses, things that are so big that we're not allowed to publicly talk about them. But our members know, got over 12,000 members from Texas based up to New Jersey, really targeting the inshore saltwater species. But we got everyone from bass anglers to the nearshore and offshore guys as well, and gals.
And even people from up north who just come down for a few months that just want to maximize their time in the water. And that's really what it's all about. It's just maximizing time in the water. A lot of people, us included, we can't get on the water as much as we like. And just a great resource to just have the human intelligence, real-time human intelligence from both us as well as the members. We now have a platform where all the members can post their own reports. And stuff like this is where we actually got that idea from that mentor, Dave Audie. And just a wealth of information there. It's literally, the good thing about fishing is that it's impossible to know it all. And it's just a forever learning experience.
And that's been my favorite part, is the network, the private community. We built an actual online private community. It feels and looks like an app you put on your phone, tablet, laptop, desktop, all four if you want. And where 12,000 of us are posting our reports talking about what's working. There's no cursing, no negativity, no trash talking, no spam, no selling. It's just guys and gals who are passionate about fishing and want to share and want to be helpful and want to learn. And I just want to make new friends. We got a lot of people meeting up and going out and having some fishing time, beer drinking time, whatever you're into. So that's it. Check it out at saltstrong.com/pricing. Or if you just want to go to saltstrong.com if you're in your car working out and can't remember the pricing part, go to saltstrong.com, click the button, it'll take you to that pricing page. You can see the special that we have going on right now. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for all the love, all the support. Hit me up if you made it this far. Here's my email, joe@saltstrong.com, luke@saltstrong.com, LUKE. Let us know if you like these, if you want us to fish certain areas. Ooh, nice little drop there. Certain guides or certain areas, states that you want us to check out, let us know. Anything we can do to help improve or better serve you, we'd love to hear from you. That's it. Stay tuned. The next podcast. We be out rolling the head.
'Cause fishing, it's in my soul. It was passed down to me from the days of old. Find us on the water if there was a way. It's been said my papa, he wrote the book on catching big reds and 20-pound snook. I wish I knew all the things he knew today. For he's the reason why we are this way. And he put fishing